Regarding
So in the previous class, we completed the document types. Now today, field status variant. So first of all, let us try to understand what is field status variant. See, during the document entry, different fields are displayed depending upon the transaction and the accounts used. For example, when posting expenses, the cost center and tax information is usually required. However, when posting to cash, the same information is not necessary. These different displays during the document processing are controlled by field status variant. That means, say for example, at the time of posting every business transaction, right? For each line item, we can maintain the information in 75 fields. So accounting entry, document or accounting entry contains minimum 2 line items, right? One is debit line item, the other one is credit line item, right? So at the time of posting these business transactions, for each line item, we can maintain the information in 75 fields. Suppose, for example, rent account data to cash. This is the accounting document, right? So while debiting the rent account and cash account, we can maintain the information in 75 fields for each line item. So for both the line items, we can maintain the information in total 150 fields. But all the fields are not required by all the accounts. Means, for example, these are the sum of the fields. These are the sum of the 75 fields which we can maintain. Text, business area, cost center, tax rate, quantity. So these are the sum of the fields which we can maintain the information while posting the transactions. But all these fields are not required by all the accounts. Means what? For example, today we have paid rent, then we have posted rent accounted to bank, one journal entry. Then again, we purchased materials, raw material accounted to vendor account. Then text means narration. Narration means explanation. So you are debiting rent account. Why? Because rent paid. Similarly, you are creating cash account. Why? Because rent paid. So for rent account and cash account, compulsory we need to maintain the text. Similarly, you are debiting raw material account because raw material is purchased. Then we are creating vendor account because raw material is purchased. So here the text is required for all the line items here, right? Then you take business area. Business area means branch. So we want to prepare the business area financial statements. For that purpose, every expense account and revenue accounts are to be posted to respect to business areas. That's why at the time of debiting or creating every GL account, compulsory we should give the business area. Now, text and business area are required for every account, right? Then coming to cost center. For the time being, remember that the cost center is required only for nominal accounts. That means for expenses, right? So rent account we are debiting, right? So rent account is a nominal account. So while debiting the rent account, we need to give the cost center. But cash account is a real account. So cost center is not required for cash account. Similarly, raw material. Raw material means inventory of raw material account. Inventory of raw material account means it's a real account. So for this account also, we don't require cost center. Then vendor account is a personal account. So for this personal account also, we don't require cost center. That means cost center is required only for rent account, but not for other accounts. Then you take tax rate. Tax rate means purchase tax. So the purchase tax is applicable only on the purchase of raw material. So there is no purchase tax on the rent account, cash account, and vendor account. So the tax information is maintained only for raw materials, but not for other accounts. Similarly, quantity. Quantity is required only for raw material, but not for other accounts. Like that, all the accounts are not required by, all the fields are not required by all the accounts, right? So all this explanation I have given here. Then, so all the fields are not required by all the accounts. That's why in every field, right, there are three statuses. For every field, there are three statuses in SAP: suppressed status, required status, and optional status. So for any field, remember, for every field, these three statuses are available, right? Then for any field, if you select a suppressed status, and one more thing is, these statuses are in the form of radio buttons. Suppressed status, required status, and optional status are in the form of radio buttons. So the speciality of the radio buttons is, you can select only one radio button at a time, right? So for any field, if you select suppressed status, that field will be hidden. That field will not be displayed at all at the time of posting the business transactions. Then for any field, if you select required status, then that field becomes mandatory field. Means compulsory, we should enter the information in that field. Then optional. If you select optional, right, that field is displayed in the document. While posting the transactions, that field will be displayed. Sometimes when it is necessary, you can enter. If it is not necessary, you need not enter the information. That's how for every field, right, these three statuses are available. Okay. Then here, based on the nature of the GL accounts, all the 75 fields have been categorized into 41 groups. See here, what happens if you select a suppressed status, required status, optional status, I have given in the material, right? So based on the nature of the GL accounts, all the fields are categorized into 41 groups. These are called field status groups. Based on the nature of the GL accounts, all the fields were categorized into 41 groups. So these are called field status group. So every field, remember, every field status group contains all the 75 fields. Again, I'm repeating, all the fields are categorized into 41 groups. Every field status group contains the same 75 fields. Then for every field, in every field status group, we have these three statuses. Then based on the nature of the GL accounts, right? At the time of creating the GL account master records, on the basis of the information required to be maintained, we assign the required field status group in the GL account master record. Then at the time of either debiting or creating the GL accounts, right, that fields will be displayed accordingly. Means whatever the fields that have been selected as optional entry will become optional fields. The fields what we have selected as suppressed entry will not be displayed at all. Similarly, the fields which are selected as required entry will become mandatory fields. That's how the fields to be maintained at the time of posting the business transactions are controlled by field status variant. So this is the explanation for the field status variant from the entry point of view. Suppose if anybody asks you in the interview, what is field status variant, right? Then you have to say this sentence only, that's it. In short, the field status variant controls the display of fields to be entered at the time of posting the business transactions to the GL accounts. That is at the time of document entry. This is the answer to the interview question, that's it. The other things are only for your understanding purpose. Now, it is mandatory that every company code should be assigned with one field status variant. For this purpose, we can use the system-defined field status variant, or we can define our own field status variant by copying from one of the system-defined field status variants, 1000 or 0001. Here, at this point of time, you may not be able to understand the exact meaning of field status variant, but try to understand to the extent you can. At the time of doing the setting, again, you'll be able to understand something more. Then at the time of posting the business transactions, 100% you can understand what is the field status variant exactly. Okay. Now, Definition of field status variant. So path is also starting the SPRO, means it is the job of the consultant. So let us log into the system. Just a minute. SPRO, Finance Accounting New, Finance Accounting Global Settings New, Ledgers, Fields, Define Field Status Variants. So somebody has logged into the system, right? So this data is locked by Naresh 1. Now you have to unlock it. Already I have told you how to unlock the screens. Okay. So go to SM12. Enter the name of the user by whom the screen was locked. Then go to menu lock entry, list. Again, go to menu lock entry, delete all. And yes. Now you can use the transaction code also, OBC4. You can use the path or you can use the transaction code. Now select 0001 field status variant line. Here 0001, right, is the system defined field status variant, right? So select 0001 field status variant. Select 0001 field status variant. Click on copy as button. Look at the material. Every step is clearly given here, so it should not get confused. So click on copy as button. This is called copy as button, or simply you can use F6. Click on copy as button. FSTV is equal to, see, 0001 field status variant is copied, right? Now you have to change the name. FSTV means field status variant. FSTV is equal to SSKV. I am using our company code name only. FSTV is equal to SSKV. Field status name is equal to field status variant for SSKV. Field status name is equal to field status variant for SSKV. See, click on enter. Click on copy all button. Click on copy all button. It takes a little bit time, right? In your practice also, right? This step may take a little bit time to execute. See, number of deputies copied 43, actually 42 only. Here, I told you, no, we have copied the 0001 field status variant through to our field status variant. So the field status variant contains 41 groups, right? But actually system defined defaulted field status groups are only 41. But in the controlling, right, we create 2 more field status groups. Somebody has created those 2 field status groups extra in the system defined field status variant. That's why it is saying that there are 43. That means 43 field status groups were copied from 0001 field status variant to our field status variant SSKV. Click enter on the message and save. Select SSKV field status variant line created above. Select SSKV field status variant line created above. Double click on field status groups. See, actually G002, G010, somebody has created in the system defined field status variant. See, 41 groups are there. So these are the 41 field status groups. G001, general type of accounts. G003, material consumption accounts. G004, cost accounts. G005, bank accounts. G006, material accounts. Like that, right? Based on the nature of the GL accounts, all the 75 fields are categorized into 41 groups. Here, G001, G003, G004, like that, they don't have any meaning. It represents the name of the field status groups, right? Now, every field status group contains the same fields. Now, according to our material, double click on the field status group G001, this one. Double click on the field status group G001. Then the fields in this field status group, right, are subcategorized like general data, additional account assignments. So these subcategories will contain number of fields. Then double click on general data. So these are the fields. For every field, suppressed status, required status, optional status. Okay. So select required entry option against text field. It was already selected. It is a system default setting. Suppose if you notice that it is not selected like this, then you select this required entry. Click on save. Then again, double click on the field status group G001 again. Then double click on additional account assignments. Then select required entry option against business area field. This one. Select required entry option against business area field. Then select optional entry option against partner business area field. This is optional entry. Select. See, sometimes while doing the practice, sometimes, right, you may not be able to see these two fields in this page. In that case, go to this next page. So based upon your screen resolution, right? Based upon the screen resolution of your laptop or desktop, where you are doing the practice, these fields will be displayed. Suppose if you don't find the field business area and partner business area in the first page, this is called next page. So you go to just click on next page. In the next page, you can find the fields. Click on save. Now again, double click on the field status group G005. Bank accounts. Then double click on, double click on general data. This is called general data. Then select text as a required entry. Look at the screen. In the field status group G001 also, we have the same fields, right? In G005 also, we have the same fields. That's what I told you. Every field status group contains the same fields. Okay. Click on save. Then again, double click on the field status group G005. Double click on additional account assignments. So here also same fields. Select required entry for business area field. Select required entry option against business area field. Select optional entry against partner business area field. Click on save. Then double click on the field status group G005 again. Double click on payment transactions. Select required entry option against value date. Select required entry option against value date. Click on save. Now here, G001, G003, G004, right? They contain the same fields and they represent one field status group name, right? Here, some space is there, no? Please write down. Field status group G001, write down there, please. Field status group G001 is assigned in all the expense accounts normally. In all the expenses accounts normally. Next, G003 is assigned. G003 is assigned in all the GL accounts. In all the GL accounts relating to material consumption accounts. Relating to material consumption. The field, continue, full stop, continue. The field status group G004, the field status group G004 is assigned in all the GL accounts, is assigned in all the GL accounts relating to cost accounts. Relating to cost accounts. Next, the field status group G005 the field status group G005 is assigned in all the GL accounts relating to bank accounts. Relating to bank accounts. Next, the field status group G006, the field status group G006 is assigned in all the GL accounts relating to material inventory accounts. Relating to material inventory accounts. So for the time being, right, these are the 6 field status groups, right? Other field status group, I will explain you later. Now, look at the scheme. Here in the field status group G001, right? In the general data, we have selected required entry for text, right? And other fields are optional. Okay. Then in the additional account assignments, we have selected business area as required entry and partner business area as optional entry. And other fields are selected as suppressed entry. Now, later on, at the time of creating rent account and cash account, for example. So here we have posted one document now, rent account to cash. Later on, at the time of creating rent account and cash account, we assign the field status group G001. So in the field status group G001, we have selected business area and text as required entries, right? Then these fields are selected as optional entry. So when you're debiting the rent account, right, the business area field and text fields will be shown as required entry fields. Okay, so let us go to another company code, right? We have one company code I will show you the impact of the field status variant in that company code. Say, for example, FS00 400 300 rent account. See, administration rent account, right? So while creating this account, we have assigned the field status group G001, right? So in the field status group G001, we have selected business and text as required entry, right? Now, I am posting one entry in the SSPN company code, right? In F-02, we post the documents. In our company code, how to post the documents, we will see later on. Here, I'm just explaining you the impact of the field status variant, right? See, posting key 40 means debit for GL account. Okay, I am debiting rent account. See, rent account. I am debiting rent account. Click on enter. See here, business area text field as required entry fields. Clear, no? Similarly, while creating the cash account, right, you enter the field status group G001, right? Again, in the field status group G001, we have selected text and business as required entry. So again, in the cash account, while creating the cash account also, credit entry. While creating the cash account also, business area and text as shown as required entry fields. That is the, see, business area required entry, trading partner business area optional entry. Like that, what are the fields to be maintained at the time of posting the business transactions is controlled by field status variant. Clear? Now, one more point I will explain. Here, G005 bank accounts, right? Obligatory value date. Means the system is giving one suggestion that in the field, in all the bank related GL accounts, you assign the field status group G005. Okay, then it is giving one suggestion. In the field status group G005, you select any field as per your requirement, but select the value date as obligatory. Value date as obligatory means value date as required entry. Why the system is giving the suggestion? For that, we should understand what is value date. See, value date. It is the expected date of realization of funds involved in the bank instruments. Bank instruments means checks and bank drafts. So at the time of creating the bank accounts, we assign the field status group G005, in which we have selected value date also as required entry. As a result, at the time of either debiting or creating the bank account, the user has to enter the value date compulsory. Then this information is passed on to the treasury or cash planning department to help in the cash planning. What does it mean exactly? So here we have created one HDFC bank account, right? We have created one HDFC bank account. So in this HDFC bank account, we assign the field status group G001. Okay. So in this field status group G001, value date selected as required entry. Okay. Now, today, (11/8/2022), right? Today, we should one check for the vendor for 3 lakh rupees. Okay. Then what is the entry we post? What is the entry? Vendor account debtor 3 lakhs to HDFC bank account, right? 3 lakhs. So you are creating HDFC bank account, right? And already in the HDFC bank account, we assign the field status group G005. We have assigned the field status group G005. In the field status group G005, value date we select as required entry. Then at the time of creating the bank account, the user has to enter the value date. What is value date? What is value date? It is the expected date of realization of funds involved in the bank instruments. Means, suppose, for example, I have given the value date as 15/8/2022. So this is called value date. But what is the use of it now? Here, this information is passed on to Treasury Management Department or Cash Planning Department, informing them that today, on 11/8/2022, we have issued a check to vendor for 3 lakh rupees. We are expecting that this check will be presented to bankers on 15/8/2022. So, as on 15/8/2022, you have to see that the funds are available in the bank so that the check is paid by the bank. So, in accounts department, HDFC Bank current account is created with today's date itself, but in the cash planning department, this will be taken as payment on 15/8/2022. If you have the sufficient funds, you can use those funds for any other purpose on 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. But as on 15th August, you have to see that these funds are available in the bank. Clear? One more example. Today, we have received one check from a customer towards the payment of sales invoice, right? Then we post the entry, debit HDFC bank account. We have received a check from a customer towards the sales invoice payment for 5 lakh rupees. So debit HDFC bank account to customer account. ₹5 lakh. So here again we are debiting bank account, right? HDFC bank account. In the HDFC bank account, we assign the field status group G005. Again, value date was selected as required entry. So the user has to enter the value date like 17/8/2022. So this is called value date. That means value date means expected date of realization of funds involved in the bank instrument, right? Now, when you give the value date on 17/8/2022, this information is passed on to Treasury Management Department or Cash Department, informing them that today, on 11th August 2022, we have received a check from a customer for 5 lakh rupees. That was deposited into the bank on 11th August itself. But we are expecting that this check will be collected by the bank on 17/8/2022. Till then, can you use this 5 lakh rupees? Yes or no? Any answer from anybody?
No.
No. So in the accounts department, this 5 lakhs is taken as a receipt on 11th August. But in the cash department, this 5 lakhs is taken as a receipt on 17/8 only. That's how this value date information is very much useful for the cash planning department. Remember, it's only an expected date. May not be realistic always. So how do you know which check is collected on which date? The persons in your organization who are regularly dealing with the bank transactions, they can easily understand which check will be presented and which check will be collected by the bank on what dates. Based on their knowledge, they will give this date. Remember, this date may not be realistic always. Suppose at the time of posting this entry, we have given the value date as 15/8/2022. Then the check has come to bank on 14th August itself. In that case, there are chances that the check may get dishonored. Then what to do? That's why later on we do one setting whereby the current date itself will be taken as the value date. But as far as possible, right, we will try to stick to this value date. Okay, that is the meaning of the value date. That's why SAP suggests to set value date as required entry. And this value date is also very much useful and very much necessary in the case of calculation of interest on working capital loans and term loans, etc. So what is interest on working capital loans and term loans? We will see later on the general ledger accounting. We have the separate topic in the general ledger accounting. That is the meaning of the value date. Then assign company code to field status variant. I told you, no, it is mandatory that, see here, it is mandatory that every company code should be assigned with on field status variant. That is the next step. Assign field company code to field status variant, transaction code OBC5. Click on position. Company code is equal to SSKV. Click on enter. See, our SSKV company code was taken in the first line. Field status variant is equal to SSKV. Click on save and click enter on the message. So the next topic is tolerance groups. So tolerance groups for GL accounts. This topic will straight away take 45 minutes to explain you. So this we will see in tomorrow's class. Any questions from anybody? First to raise your hands, I'll be coming one by one. Yeah, Ravi. Tell me, Ravi, I'm not able to hear you.
So what I'm saying is this is not related to the topic. But
no, your voice is not clear, Ravi. Do one thing, post your doubt on WhatsApp. I will explain because I'm not able to hear you properly. Anything else from anybody?
Sir Manjunath, I have one question.
Yeah, Manjunath.
Yeah, sir, this field status variant, how to identify? There are many. Sorry, in field status variant, no, there are many. No, somebody is created and there are some standard settings. How to identify whether it is a standard?
No, it comes by experience variant only, right? You can't say that these are the standard or these are created by users. You can't say like that. It comes by it comes by experience only.
Okay.
Anything else from anybody?
yes, sir. I have one
question.
Yes, sir. There is three options: suppress, required, and optional.
Okay.
So how we can, because the things you have explained that you have to click those options, but if you want to change it, so how it works and how we
later
can
on
understand it?
Later on, right? Later on also, you can change it by going to the same transaction to OBC4, right? Suppose, for example, I selected text as a required entry now, right? But I want to make it as optional now, right? Go to OBC4.
Okay.
Just a minute. This transaction will take a little bit time. to execute.
Okay.
So click on position, field status field SSKV. Select SSKV, double click on field status groups. So here in the field status group G001, we have select text as a required, right? Then after some time, you want to change it to optional, right? So you come to the same screen, double click on G001, double click on general data, you select as optional, that's it. From now onwards, this field will not be required. It will become only optional.
Okay. And what is suppress mean? Required entry, I understand. Optional entry, I understand.
Suppress means
What is-
hidden. It will not be displayed at all.
So where it is if it's not displayed at all?
Yes, you cannot see the field at the time of posting the transaction.
Okay, so it disappear from the screen. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
All right, that's fine. Thank you very much.
Sir, even after posting the entries, we can suppress it.
Yes, yes.
What about the entries already posted?
They will not be affected.
Okay, okay.
Which means we can change the hidden values or mandatory whenever as possible.
Yes,
Whenever
yes,
we want.
exactly. Yes, Ravi.
Thank you. So one question, like it's not related to this topic, but then do we have to remember all these transaction codes or
Not
during
like that, not like normally, right? Nobody will ask you in interviews also the transaction codes and paths. Right?
just the process should be enough?
Yeah, because nobody can remember, no.
Yeah, sure.
So if you do the practice regularly, right, you'll be able to remember some transaction codes automatically. Right? Even if you don't remember, don't worry. Nobody will ask you the transaction codes in interviews.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, then see you tomorrow. Good night and good day.